installing the upgraded 1998 to 2001 5th generation sway bar in the 4th generation Mazda 626. Same exact thing, we'll go for the Ford Probe and definitely the MX-6. 626 and MX-6 share the same exact sway bars. Protege sway bar might be a little bit different. So this is going to be a continuation of the junkyard video removal of the sway bar that I did with ND28. You're going to get everything today. You're going to get the removal and the installation. But it was still nice to be able to get that removal video in the junkyard with ND28. It's nice to be able to show what you might have to deal with when you are getting your 5th gen sway bar in a junkyard situation. So that was pretty nice to be able to show everyone. And now that we have it, we're going to install it. So let's get to it. Some supplies that you will need are socket set. I believe the bolts on them are going to be 12 millimeter, might be 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, or 14 millimeter. Just about everything on the 626 Ford Probe MX-6 is 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, and 14 millimeter. Unless you're going for larger bolts like the crank pulley bolt, which I believe is 19 or 20, something like that. But just about everything is going to be 10, 12, 14. Some PB Blaster or WD-40 to help loosen up the end link bolts. Some gloves because your end links are underneath your car. They get all that dirt and road debris from years and years of just gunk buildup on there. They're going to be really dirty. You're going to want some gloves. If not some type of work gloves, then some latex gloves. You might need either a locking plier or something like this in order to grab one end of the bolt if it happens to be stripped. We came across I think 2 bolts in the sway bar removal. We skipped one entire car because we couldn't get them off because the bolts were stripped. Chances are you might have at least one bolt that you're going to have to lock onto while you use the ratchet on the other side, kind of thing. You have your rear suspension. This is your cross member here, your K-frame. I'm guessing that's called a K-frame. Honestly, I will admit I do not know a lot about suspension. I'm the last guy you're going to ask about suspension related stuff. Just know that this is an easy mod, and it's something that just about anyone can do, i.e. me. So we're gonna go ahead and get at that sway bar. An easy way to find a sway bar is this bushing right here. It's attached right to your sway bar. This is your sway bar bushing, and that comes up and attaches to your end link, and then the end link attaches to this suspension arm. Like I said, I'm the last person to ask about suspension stuff. If you need any suspension related questions answered, go to Mazda626.net and ask someone else, because you do not want to ask me. Okay, the first thing that you want to do when removing your sway bar is disconnect it from the end link first. Because if you disconnect it from the bushings first, let's say you disconnect both of those bushings down there, your arm is going to just fall down this way. And that's going to be a pain in the butt to work with while you're trying to get at these screws. So first, remove both sides, this one and the one on the opposite side, and then the whole sway bar will be held up by the bushings. Then you just take one at a time from the bushings off. So that's what we're going to do. And let me get my socket set. I need a breaker bar for that. Oh, crap. Well, after spending about an hour going at it, yeah, there is a trick to it. Okay, let's say you got your socket on here, right? And you can just do this and it'll spin all day long. Okay, there is a little washer in here. So when you spin this just freely spins. And I was like, well, crap. Then I'll just go up to the top and I will just try and disconnect this end link, and it will drop all the way through here. So you can disconnect it from either side if you want to drop it, the whole thing. And that one was the same as that one. So I was like, okay, well, what's the trick? Well, if you look at the end of this bolt, it's hollow. And it's packed full of crud, and there's a hex key in there. So I was like, oh, well, yeah, that actually looks like it might work. So you have to put a hex key in the end. And no, I didn't do any reading up on the subject because I don't have internet right now. I didn't even think about going to get my factory manual. Yeah, I'm just doing all this, I'm winging it. I have a factory manual, I'm not even looking at it. So, anyway, put your hex key in there, get your wrench. Obviously this little hex key set isn't quite made for this, but it will work with some effort. Look at that crap. Because the hex key, if it's going to break, it broke the hex key inside. Okay, I got the other side off. The other end link was much easier to work with. And that hex key fit right in there, no problem. The hex key on the other side obviously broke, and this one's pretty good, so this one just came right off. No problem. And as I said from the beginning, you might encounter problems like these. Especially since this is just about the lowest point in your entire vehicle, or these end links. They're going to get the most debris, most gunk packed into the bushings here. Actually, this one looks fairly clean. I don't know if you can see that, but that's white. There's just a couple of little rust marks, but all you have to do is get off this bolt, and there's another bolt up here holding on this entire bushing. And I believe both are 14 millimeter. And the bolts on the bottom are actually, I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but these are welded. These are weld nuts, so you don't have to worry about the nuts spinning off on this side. However, the one on the top over there, you might. I already broke it, so. Okay, well that's one down. Whatever. Andy. Oh. Oh, there was a bolt. Oh, okay. When Andy gave me the bushing, he put the bolt on like that because one bolt goes through and then the nut is for the other bolt. So that's kind of neat. So you only need one of each for each bushing. Okay, here's the two sway bars. Here's my new powder coated blue sway bar. It's real hard to tell because of the shadows, the difference. It's not much. Millimeters. But there is a difference. I tried to get the shop to color match the valve cover and my hood latch bar, but they were way off. Not even close. This is kind of a dark gray blue. whereas my valve cover is like a teal, baby blue. I guess I'm waiting on end links now, because I can put the sway bar back up, but it's not going to be attached to anything. Kind of pointless, so I'll just wait. Well, I've decided to just go ahead and put this on the car, because it's not going anywhere, and I'm going to have to go up and find some end links, get some anti-seize, and lube up the threads to your bolts and on the other side of that nut, and then install that. And for the time being, I'm just going to leave it loose, hanging on the one end link. And then on the other side there is nothing there, so it's just going to be hanging, dangling down loose, which is fine. And then I'm going to have to find some end links and we'll go from there. So I'm going to flip it around, see if I have it backwards, because there is a correct way to install this. This will only go on one way. Okay, and then lube up inside of the cap on the other side. Before we tighten it down, obviously, we want to ensure that our end links are connected. Okay, got 2 sway bar bushings. They're in pretty good shape. I'll probably keep those for backups. But I'm down one end link. This thing, I don't know if you can see how chewed up that thing is. I tried putting pliers on the end of it and it just mashed the threads. So this end link is shot. Absolutely done. And I will probably just go to my local junkyard to pick up some new end links, because all end links for the 626s, no matter what engine or transmission type, are the same. You can get any end link off any 626 Probe MX6 and be just fine. So that's it. Removing and installing a sway bar is really that easy. There's only 4 bolts really, and it's just a snap. So if you have a chance to pick up a 5th gen sway bar for all you 4th gen owners, go ahead and do it. It's a really easy modification, and that's all there is to this one. Cool.